We are live. Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I am your meteorologist for the evening, Cloud Hudson, and I will be bringing you all of tonight's top weather stories. First, I'm going to start off by just finding center here. Of course, I'm me, so I do want to use my heart chakra centered bowl. Taking me a while to find it. There we are. Okay. Also want to light a candle. Really get in the mood. It's Monday. It's the moon's day. So I want to do everything all nice and ritual, body, emotional health. I feel like the moon's day is a nice day to do a little extra ritual when it comes to the show. Very nice. Thank you. We're burning the sacred wood of the Palo Santo and the sacred oils of cypress, eucalyptus, pine, cedar, and mint. The big cypress candle. This one's for clearing out all the other gunk. And I also like to light it because it's currently what I use to ring the singing bowl. And I think that is a nice way to turn the offering of sound into the offering of smoke as well. Who are we offering it to? That's for the offering to know and you to find out. Hello, I'm these cut. Yeah, and I think it's gonna be like this again for all of July. I'm sorry to say, it's not gonna get it'll get different. It's gonna be different emotions, and emotions are information. They are not necessarily the true facts of the world. Yeah, oh God, hold on tight is right. That is kind of when astrologers looked at July 2024, everyone kind of went, okay, here we go. It is one of those months. Yeah, very much this. But remember that we are all ascending together, and ascending is like walking up a flight of stairs. You do get tired of it, but if you wanted to go back down, you'd also have to walk back down all those stairs. So just keep going up those stairs. Take some breaks if you need to. Yeah, Yeah, that's where we're at today. Hi, hello everybody. I think somebody just came in and left and they were like, this isn't weather. Yes, it is. If I'm talking about spiritual ascension, I'm talking about the weather because weather is the we ether. It is the ether that we all do together. So I'm going to I'm experimenting with broadcasting my screen share in a higher quality tonight. So if I'm extra laggy, you'll have to let me know because I'm trying to show all I can right now. I rewatched my episode last night and I felt that it was not the highest quality. It's not as high of a quality that I see. I am going to keep Hurricane just so that we're aware of what's going on with the storm, because as it stands right now, we've got 3 tornado warnings associated with the storm right now. There's 2 in Arkansas and 1 in Louisiana down there. So we're going to keep an eye on those, make sure they don't get, actually, I'm going to not do us on 250 frames. I'm going to do us on just 30 frames so it doesn't load quite as buffery, laggy. Trying to reduce the lag here. But yeah, you can see where the tornadoes are definitely spiking, ramping up. Okay. Welcome to another episode of Today's or Tonight. We're going to start off by taking a look at what our volcanoes have done. What have our volcanoes done since we last spoke? Since we last met with our volcano heroes? Kaylee, I saw those. I finally checked my Instagram DMs today, and which always, since I'd ever check them, takes like hours because people will send me stuff and I haven't replied in weeks or months. But yeah, that theory that volcanoes are dragons and the remnants of dragon fire bellies, that's a very interesting theory. Okay. Let's see. View of the summit area of Etna after the 2 paroxysms on July 4th and 6th. After the 2 intense paroxysms at the Voragina crater, the summit area of Etna has changed beyond imagination. Beyond imagination. The summit area of Etna has changed beyond imagination. I love how dramatic they are on this site. The new cone built up by this activity is now likely the new summit of Etna volcano. Formal confirmation is missing, but before there are so many different crater and eruption systems on Mount Etna that the actual summit changes sometimes, and we may have a new summit now. The western summit crater, Boca Nuova, with its 2 deep pits existing until July 4th, has been completely filled by new lava. Overspilling lava poured over the western crater rim of the Boca Nuova over the western flank of the volcano in a short-lived lava flow, which you can see here. This was all spatter, so that is probably our new summit there. That is probably the most exciting news in volcano news, I think. Mount Ibu continues to explode, as does Lebutobi and Reventador and Sabancaya. Let's see. For the 8th, we've got lava flow at Stromboli continues to reach the sea. The activity remains unchanged. The lava flow is active and is actively making new coastline at Stromboli. Etna had a July 7th eruption, ceasing. So the 4th and the 6th were the days that we had eruptions officially. Campi Flegrei is back in the news. The Phlegraean Fields in Italy, which means the fields of fire. They have a little bit more of an elevated seismic signature right now. This is the area that is close to Napoli, that is near the area of Mount Vesuvius. It says no significant changes. Never mind. Long-term trend of heating and pressurization as well as ground uplift continue, with the alert status remaining yellow. Summary of volcano activity at Vesuvius is there is some activity at Vesuvius, but we're still in green warning, so it's not really that bad. We had the volcano remaining calm. No significant seismic deformation or other activity. Low levels. So Svartsengi at the Reykjanes Peninsula, magma inflow continues into the reservoir. I think we talked about this the other day. Under the likely time frame for the next diking event, information shows that uplift in the region continues. The Svartsengi power plant is continuing to inflate and kind of at a steeper rate than usual. This is a closed period, meaning that this is a closed system, as in there is inflow and no outflow. We definitely looked at that the other day on their website. Karimsky on the Kamchatka Peninsula has volcanic ash explosion, explosive activity at Lewitobi, Ibu, Samiru. Merapi had infrequent, intermittent, small ash explosions. Popo had some mildly explosive activity. Let's see, intermittent ash plumes. Occasional volcanic ash from Fuego, discrete volcanic ash cloud observed. So just one puff from Nevado del Ruiz down in Colombia. We've got Reventador with a consistent volcanic ash emissions, and intermittent volcanic ash emissions at Peru. Now, one thing that I wanted to talk about while we're talking about our tectonic update is both the creation of a new beach in California through a landslide, and which is a good thing because most of the activity in changing coastlines in California means that we are losing coastline, which is what happens here. As you can see, California cliffs just absolutely melting away in front of us. But this is a happier timeline. This is a happier thing that can happen where the landslides from the earth, from the continent towards the ocean, meaning we developed some coastline. So erosion can happen in reverse. It's just not the process of erosion. It's the process of on land erosion leading to more beach being created. There's also a really cool study that that means is they're talking about the pulling apart of megacontinents, and there are things called kimberlite explosions, and kimberlite is something that has diamonds are embedded in the matrix of kimberlite, so we can look for diamonds wherever there may have been kimberlite eruptions. That means that there are more places we can look for diamonds potentially. That's just a really cool one. I thought it was a neat image to think of big pouring out of diamonds from the changes in Earth, the Earth's crust. I think that's a great example of it might be scary for major changes to occur with the earth, but it is pretty. It's a pretty sight, a pretty image to think of, a fountain of diamonds. Okay, another cool one in plate tectonic news or crustal news. It's only crustal news geological news, because people thought that this was a hole in the ocean. The truth is even more sinister. Vostok Island appears as a hole in the ocean on Google Maps, and Google Maps enthusiasts have noticed that this looks like a hole. People posited the idea, they proposed the idea that this was some sort of secret military base or something. But what it actually is such a dense forest of one type of tree that light doesn't really escape it. Pisonias, also known as bird killers, are the tree that has a canopy so dense that light's not really being reflected from it. This is known as the bird killer tree because they have sticky seeds that stick to birds in an effort to be spread across island nations. And sometimes birds get so covered in their sticky seeds that they just get encased live in the seeds and resin and die of starvation. They can also get so bogged down with the seeds that they just can't fly anymore and get stuck. So these trees end up getting covered in mummified corpses of birds, which is, I think, a very, on the metaphorical, metaphysical plane, island of, quite literally, when you look at it from the satellite, light doesn't escape the forest. But it's also more of that dark feminine, divine darkness energy on the planet. It's just a real, very real reminder that the earth is a feminine, dark place where sometimes death and decay simply happen because there is so much abundance of life and trying to propagate your own life. It is, it's a, it's a dark place when there are trees. This article says that the trees don't even eat the birds, they just kill them. So that is a pretty dark existence. I thought it was a really interesting read because, yeah, we got to remember that this earth is a jungle of darkness that really will swallow you alive for no reason. And other things will come along and learn to cannibalize the energy that has been preserved here. But yeah, that was an interesting illustration of the dark feminine energy on the earth, to me. Here's some dark masculine energy, or I guess white hot masculine energy on Earth. We are currently undergoing, I think, the apocalypse of fire. So we've had earth, air, water, and fire. Or we've had earth, air, and water. Now we're on the apocalypse, the reforming of the earth of fire. And here's an update of our fire apocalypse. Las Vegas shattered its possibly shattered its all-time record high temperature of 120 degrees Fahrenheit. And there have been record-setting heat on July 7th in Death Valley, Barstow, Daggett, California, Bishop, California, and Kingman, Arizona. These are record-breaking temperatures that are like, don't even go outside without a water bottle, even to get the mail. Like it is hot down in Las Vegas. And with no shock with those temperatures, we've got lots of wildfires growing in the West. Bryce Canyon National Park is home to one of those big wildfires, the Deer Spring Fire, that is out in Utah. But they've also got the Silver King Fire, and there are more red flag warnings in the forecast. So it's hot and it's getting hotter, and that makes it be on fire sometimes. In other areas of the world, the heat does not just bring fire. The heat also brings volatility to water systems, so the water cycle happens more rapidly and intensely. We got flooding in India. We have, yeah, this is just the Associated Press basically doing an episode of my show. This is their roundup of all the big weather stories. So thank you for validating my perception that it is important to. Speaking of all, so a lot is suppressed, but I think a lot is being discoveries so that we can keep the scientific process going. I think science is the new religion that's being created right now. I mean that both in a bad way and a good way. So if we want there to be any value in the new creation of religion, of science, we need to keep contributing to the inquiry process and put as much information into the birth of this new religion as possible. That includes the scientific process of positing hypotheses, letting other people verify them through experimentation, and revising your hypothesis when you get contradictory results from your experiments. Okay, this is that basin wildfire that we have been, this is the red flag warning, which includes 2 active wildfires, the Little Twist wildfire and the Deer Springs incident. And we did, in fact, see, oh man, a large new area of heat anomalies. The Silver King incident is now at 10,026 acres burned. That is here in the Fish Lake National Forest in Utah. That is very unfortunate. They don't need more wildfires there, but we're getting them. There's also red flag warnings up here in Oregon and Washington, and we're seeing, accordingly, new hotspots burning there as well. This looks like Fire Weather Watch. The Pioneer incident might be growing. That one popped up yesterday. So we've also got 2 new wildfires in Western Washington there. So new wildfires all over the place. Let's see the update on this San Bernardino situation. San Bernardino National Forest is actually pretty good. San Gabriel Mountains, however, looking nasty. And Antelope Valley just on fire, just plain on fire, the whole thing. Lots of new wildfires popping up in Arizona as well. Now, New Mexico, I can't say I'm surprised that there's so many fires there, considering the history of the white sand's been fire so many times. I'm gonna set you, but that is my personal characterization of what the Earth is doing out here. Okay, I'm gonna go now to check on our earthquakes. Let's go to earthquake 3D. Let's see. So, don't think there were any 6-day, but yesterday we did have all those 6s. Let's take a look at, let's start with the good old so-called US of A. We've got, okay, like I said, probably going to get a few more in Southeast Texas than we used to. 2.8, 1.6, and a 2.2. That's a surface 2.2. The 2.8 was at 10 kilometers depth, as was the 1.6. And then here, where Beryl is currently situated in Arkansas, we've got 2.0 at 6 kilometers depth. Oh, we had a pretty big one here in northern New Mexico, a 3.0, a surface 3.0 at 1 kilometer depth. And then our West Texas stack actually had quite a bit of a break today with only 4 quakes. Down here on the coastline, the Pacific coast of Mexico along the Sierra Madre, we've got a regular cluster of mid-range 3s. We had a 4.7 off the coast of Nicaragua yesterday. I guess I didn't, no, that was technically on the 8th. Yesterday, I included in the update, but it was a very new one. We also had a 5.3 today here in, is this Panama or Costa Rica or El Salvador? Which one? Which one am I looking at? Panama. Yes. Okay. We were right on the coast. We were right on the border of Costa Rica and Panama. Right here along La Concepcion Road or Ruta 2. They have their own state of New Mexico. I didn't know that. It says Nuevo Mexico. That's cute. I haven't looked at the chat in a minute. Oh no, I'm off stream. See, this is why I have to go back and check the chat occasionally. Hope you didn't miss the whole earthquake report, but there wasn't much. There is a big fire up near you. I'll go back and look at fire weather in a second. Okay, you said we can't see you at 11:31 and it's 11:34. So I think I'm back. Okay. But yeah, if you can't see me, this is what I made. I made a little trap of the flies and yeah, okay. I'll just go back and show you the areas that I talked about. Sorry. Here's where we had those 4.3s and 4 spreading throughout the area near where the 6.1 and 6.2s happened yesterday. Then this is the area where we had these surface 3s near Juneau, Alaska. This is where we had a 5.2 off the coast of Vancouver Island. That is at 10 kilometers depth, with a 1.9 all the way down at 443 kilometers depth. We had several 3s spreading throughout Southern California, well, really south of Southern California in the Baja Peninsula area, 3.4 in Utah, a 3.0 on the border of Colorado and New Mexico. Then 4.7 and 5.3 in Nicaragua and Panama, respectively. 5.3 and mid-range 4s, and a 5.4 down here in Chile and Peru and Bolivia. And just the regular clusterfuck in Greece, just like Alaska and California. Greece always has a lot going on. But yeah, that was, I mean, it's not a huge earthquake update today, so we didn't miss too much. Oh, we did. There was a 3.3 in Hawaii. I forgot to say that. 3.3 at 32 kilometers. So now let's see. You know what? I think I went offline. I think my picture went away right when we were talking about we sound nuts, but a lot has been suppressed from us. So let's not look into that. Let's not look into the connection between me going offline and what I'm saying when I go offline, because that would be maddening. That would absolutely drive one mad. And so I'm not going to focus on it. I am already mad enough. All right, we've got moving on to our atmosphere. We've got an observed tornado warning on the ground near Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Let's go ahead and take a look at single site radar so we can see that on our velocity map. Go to Little Rock. Oh yeah, buddy. Look at that. What's it say? All right, let's watch this baby in motion. Nope. Do we see it? I see the banding coming in. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, right there. You'll see it develop with this burst. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's spinning little eddy right there. That's nasty. That is a nasty little bugger. I mean, look at that right there. That is also, I bet, one nasty bunch of storms. I mean, it's really, predicting or nowcasting tornadoes is hard enough already. But when they are embedded in a hurricane, that makes it incredibly hard. Let's pause. Okay, right here. Right here. Look at that. That is nasty. That is a dangler if I ever saw one. At first, you say that I like tornadoes is that you see parallel to the Earth twisting, going into vertical twisting. And you can see that pretty well in these last few frames here, where we go from, it looks like we've got some turbulent mixing, chaotic eddy, vorticey shedding mixing going on here. And then it really organizes itself into not just a couplet, but a strong right here. Watch the red part, watch that swirl into like looking like a draining bathtub into a curve throughout these next clips. Yeah, buddy. And looking at this velocity couplet right here, this is where it is probably picking up tailing. Right back here is not good either. I mean, they've got it identified right here as this being a tornado, but I think that this is also probably not great. Yeah, and that's our newest update, that being the big velocity couplet. That is an in and out and in and out. And right here, when you see red and green next to each other on velocity, they're going opposite directions, which means towards and away from the radar site, which is right here in Little Rock. And so this influx of green where we're, watch, just like, can you play again, please? Yeah, watch this bubble come in. Should be towards the radar, but these are bubbles of away from burning cell. Mosaic radar. Sometimes I forget the name for the mosaic radar so often while I'm broadcasting, and then I'll look back and be like, why'd you say composite? It's mosaic. But I just like the word mosaic just slips my mind completely sometimes. We've got a flash flood warning going on, as well as a mesoscale precipitation discussion for flash flooding likely from Tyler, Texas to El Dorado to Texarkana, all the way down to Alexandria and the coast of Louisiana. This is the remnants of Beryl. And if you didn't know, Beryl is a girl's name, apparently, because we do alternate girl and boy names every other storm. Alberto was a boy name, so I guess Beryl is a girl's name, but I've never met anyone named Beryl, let alone a lady named Beryl. But, you know, I always thought it was like a barrel-chested man sounded manly. Okay, back to the topic at hand. People in Houston are dying, Cloud. Stop talking about names. Brazoria County is 90% out of power. 90.6% of customers are out of power. We've got in Harris County, 71% of people out of power. Galveston County, 61% of people without power. Waller County, 19%. As you get towards the periphery of Houston, it gets less. But Chambers County, 34% out of power. Liberty County, 53% out of power. Harris County is the one most of Houston is in. So it's bad, y'all. It is bad down there. Montgomery County, 74% out of power. You can just see the swath of destruction when I zoom out. These county outlines are shaded to represent the people who are without, is where the remnants of the eye are. The eye, where our big strong rain banding is. Now it's looking like a pretty typical summertime convective system, except for the fact that this is so condensed. This is the geometry of a storm you would expect to be stretched throughout the entire country, only it's condensed into just a few little states here. Trying to load. It's not buffering. I really need to get a second monitor so that I can monitor my stream on the second monitor while I've got the big thing up here. And I did that when I first started streaming, but that's when I was using the monitor I have right now as my second monitor and my Chromebook as the primary streaming source. And I don't really know how to use my Chromebook as a second monitor for the computer, because now that I've got a real computer, I want to use it. Okay, why aren't you going? Load. Dang it. I'm going to close Earthquake 3D and see if that helps. Okay, well, I think maybe I need to restart Radar Omega real quick. While we're waiting for that to restart, let's take a look at wildfires near you. Kaylee, I'm pretty sure you said you're up here in NorCal. There is a new name is Bogus Incident. There is a new wildfire in Northern California, and it's called the term. I don't know. But allegedly, this is 200 areas burned, discovered today. Oh, this is that area near Eel Rock that I think is so weird, where you've got this checkerboard of public land and private land, which is weird. Then we've also got an active wildfire up here in the Sacramento Mountains, the Shelley incident. That has got 5,000 acres burned. That is up near Kidder Creek. That has lots of thermal anomalies associated with it. Fire radiative power. Remember, we've got that little gauge on the side. This is where we're looking at. It looks like there's actually 3 or 4 isolated incidents with ridges in between being contained. It doesn't say the percentage contained. So that is probably what you're dealing with there. Quartz Valley sounds like there would be a lot of quartz there. And there's, again, that checkerboard of band area, BLM area. And then here in the Cascades near Shasta Lake, there is a silverthorn incident discovered today, right in Shasta Lake, on Shasta Lake, at the end of Resort Road and Walker Mine Road in this little peninsula. There's a fire burning on Shasta Lake. There's also a new one near Happy Valley, where there was already some going on. There was a prescribed burn in Gore Ranch, prescribed burn. So, remember that to keep your land healthy, you do need to burn one eventually. I'm not just joking about weed. I mean, you do need to burn one in order to keep your land healthy. So, oh, and there's also a new one near the Mendocino National Forest. So, delightful. Love to see it. Okay, let's go back to Earthquake 3D. I mean, Radar Omega, and see if it's happy enough to load now. Okay, yeah. That is clearly what a hurricane looks like when it is made landfall. That is a beautiful image of that. It has now sandwiched itself in between this, what was formerly our weak, wavy, lower level front, and the cold front up here that last night, both of those were producing their own storm systems. Now this is kind of turning into more of a mid-latitude cyclone. Well, it's not a mid-latitude cyclone, it's a post-tropical low, but it's doing the thing that normal storms in the continent do. We just got a new flash flood warning issued here for South Little Rock, Benton, and Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Also, we had one in effect already for Hot Springs, Arkadelphia, and Camden, Arkansas. This is also in its own flash flooding likely mesoscale discussion, which was issued at like 20 minutes ago. The late evening goes east. Infrared and proxy visible satellite imagery shows tropical depression Beryl continuing to lose convective organization as it advances and take on increasingly asymmetric appearance. Also, they spelled asymmetric wrong, I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's asymmetric. Somebody put the word ass in asymmetric. Asymmetry has one S. I'm pretty dang sure. So whoever wrote this update, Orison, it's not ass. Though it does, if you're trying to say it has the symmetry of an ass, then maybe you're trying to say it's the symmetry of like a butt, like leaning over. Can you, I don't know. Like maybe it's doing the Tina Belcher like fake twerking where you just move your lower back. I don't know. I'm trying to see where this is asymmetric and I'm just not seeing it. Associated with the storm, we do have a lot of tropical air making its presence known in northern Georgia. This is the absolute end of the Appalachian Mountains. This is, I don't know if y'all know, but the Appalachian Mountains do actually go into North Georgia and North Alabama. This is all kind of the last little string of mountains. So this is the tropical moisture coming up and hitting that little bit of terrain, but really interacting with the cold front here. That's what's helping organize this into some convective systems. Whereas in Florida and southern Georgia, we're looking at slightly unrelated air mass. It's not a rain band, but it is part of the air mass being dragged upwards with this strong storm. So it's not unrelated. Not related, but not unrelated. Rain going on there. But it looks like what we've got going on in North Georgia and southern East Tennessee is the most, it looks like we've got where I might be able to get a larger... Oh, here's a projected path swath. So to go through Little Rock and Indianapolis straight for the Great Lakes, like we talked about yesterday. I wanted to show the landfall. God, the sea surface temps barely cooled off. That is not enough to stop the next storm. I'm sorry. Here is a nice view of our intensity with our path. So we did technically get up to Cat 1 for a second there. Right as we were making landfall, we were at a Cat 1 again and then dropped down to a tropical storm. I was watching some live weather updates last night, and I think that people... Oh, there we go. Perfect. Let's get microwave imagery of this. I think that the storm chasers who were out there in the hurricane were getting readings that were consistent with a Cat 2, but they were not... it was not reclassified as a Cat 2. It was only at Cat 1. So here is a great image of the actual landfall. You can see here the center of Beryl really kind of stalled and hung around. It got a bit pushed. You saw that little boom bumping off the edge like a pinball as it came up and headed into Houston. This really hit Houston harder than I think a lot of people would have guessed last week. Because Houston got that northeastern quadrant, that terrible storm surge. I mean, they're still 90% out of power. So we are only now discovering what's going on there. We will see in the coming days the absolute destruction. I really hope Beyonce steps up. What I mean by that is she's a big Houston celebrity, like a big famous person from Houston, and like 21 hurricane strikes in the past. Strike. Let's see. Our tropical outlook still does not indicate anything about this Atlantic depression, but I'm going to go to tropical tidbits and take a look at this. Okay, Beryl. Yeah, really headed straight for Detroit, honestly. We're headed up the Mississippi. Up the Mississippi. Let's look at Atlantic wide. Yeah, I don't like the look of that. It is okay. It is weakening. It's not getting too bad. I think that this storminess that we had in the southeast yesterday that wasn't Beryl is picking a side either towards Beryl or towards this Bermuda fish storm, Bermuda Triangle fish storm. Let's see. But the low still isn't going away. All right. There is also not much developing in the wake of Beryl, but we cannot consider ourselves out of the woods. I think due to the astrology, by the end of July, we are going to be dealing with another situation. So I'll move through to our next... oh, wait, I got to review our tornadoes. I'm sorry, I can't move past this. We've had so many tornadoes associated with Beryl here. One of them down southern Texas, interestingly, in Colorado on Sunday. We've got this one reported right where we made landfall at Jamaica Beach. That was report of house damage and power lines down due to tornado. Rating unknown near Terramar Beach. That is the first of many in its track. Beaumont actually was the first one. the earliest one in the night. Then up here near Jasper, Texas, we saw another tornado. EMS reports damage to condominiums, apartments, search and rescue ongoing, time estimated by radar. And emergency management director relayed to the National Weather Service that a tornado struck the city of Jasper. A condo building took a direct hit. Very unfortunate. Here near Natchitoches, we had a video of tornado sent via social media. We had another confirmed video of tornado near Elm Grove in Louisiana. And then one reported of tornado damage off Horton Road. Tornado damage reported substantial damage to pool house and 2 big pine trees near Longview. We've also got possible tornado damage, several buildings damaged in Timpson. One near Arkadelphia that's confirmed as broadcast media sharing picture of tornado in the Sparkman area. So that is a lot. That is a lot of tornadoes, and we are not done yet. These are still pouring in. I mean, we are done for tonight, I think. It's possible it's not like let's do I have that one? Damage threats bookmark, but I do have Goes Conus East viewer bookmarked. That is our landfall there. Why aren't you? Oh, product image will be restored as quickly as possible, but it is currently, there's no satellite image after Beryl made landfall, which is quite weird. Let's see if Conus West will have anything. Well, it works, but it doesn't show anything east, so that doesn't help. Let's go to check on our Schumann resonances, shall we? And check on chat. How we doing? It froze. I'm back. I'm back. We are so back. Chat, we are so back. Okay. Sorry that it freezes all the time. I swear I am working on getting this to be a smoother stream. And it's only literally, Kaylee, you're one of the only people holding down my sanity with this. Like, I would just be talking to no one and feeling very weird about that. But thank you for your eternal support. It means the world. I just smashed that fruit fly. I finally got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. But instead of Osama bin Laden, it's just a fruit fly that tries to fly at my nose every 3 seconds. Okay. Look at that. Look at that. Schumann resonances as we're getting landfall from Beryl. Then throughout the day on the 8th today, pretty calm looking, but we did shift from having a higher emphasis, our higher frequency, attempting to raise consciousness right now. We also saw some random crosshair type patterning today into the early hours of the day. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Let's see where our frequencies ended up. Frequencies, weirdly enough, our frequencies have dropped very recently. They ended up pretty high for a second, and at least mode 1 has dropped down significantly below average, whereas it was all the way up to 8 hertz for a while. And and our big power bursts really drop it, but they usually bounce right back. So I wonder if we are about to get another power burst if those frequencies are dropping so fast. Yeah, I think right here you can see there is a brightness coming. I think something is coming in on mode 1. So let's go ahead and see what that means on our solar weather. On the 8th, we've only had 4 coronal mass ejections. Not that many. Looks like that one is about to be a big one, though. It hasn't even completed, but it looks like it's about to be a good one. Let's see. Actually, I want to pick up the magnetogram today because I'm a little suspicious about the quiet geomagnetic weather. God, if you could smell this candle, it's so good. It's by this company called Blaze On that like makes candles out of empty beer cans. They're so awesome. I want to say they're based out of Asheville, but maybe I've only seen them in Asheville. We've got a lot of different town names on here, but it smells amazing. I mean, our the Earth, keeping us pretty safe from our cosmic rays. You want that backside to be pretty pressurized. Yeah. Not looking like we got many big waves, but definitely some tides going in and out, some solar tides. Yeah, that looks pretty protected. Yeah, there's some boom, boom, boom waves of density coming in, but not really eating away at the protection of our magnetosphere, just kind of sending some ripples into the otherwise laminar flow that we have around our Earth. So let's check out the coronal mass ejections again, see the solar flares. Yeah, not many. I think we had like one M-class flare today. One M1.15, and that's not that much. That's nothing to speak of. Let's see. What do I want to do? Let's look at WSA Enlil, see if there's anything coming our way. Not expected. Not expecting much to come our way. Let's take a look at it says no noteworthy space weather. I don't know why I'm like looking for noteworthy space weather, but there is a dimming region here, coronal hole forming. So that might provide some fast solar wind as it connects with Earth. We do have region 3738 growing still as a beta gamma type region. Not really too much going on there, though. But one thing that we probably can is bonkers right now. We are moving ever closer to our conjunction of Mars and Uranus at the exact location of Algol, which is a fixed star that represents beheading. It's there's a whole legend. I think it's of Middle Eastern origin. You'll have to look up other astrologers to explain the significance of Mars conjunct Uranus on Algol in Taurus. But needless to say, this is a very crucial point of Taurus that is kind of associated with big changes to heads of state and the literal heads of state. So that is why I am expecting a big shakeup in politics to come throughout this month. We've also got the moon moved through Leo here and is now at 25 degrees of Leo. So it is squaring that Mars and Uranus application to a conjunction. We've also got Mercury at 10 degrees of Leo, making a trine to the North Node and where we had the eclipse point in Aries earlier this year. Points of former conjunctions, former strong conjunctions, are playing a big role in our narrative in the stars right now. We've also got that Mercury in Leo making a sextile to Jupiter in Gemini. 9 degrees. Sign with a stellium for the past 6 months, and now it's going to finally have its own day in Cancer. Everyone just get out of here and let me be in charge. But unfortunately, Cancer kind of works in a way of controlling people and things through emotions. So giving it its alone time will be very helpful for regaining its strength before Leo season. But I don't think it's going to be the strongest performance out of Cancer. I think this is going to be a time of the Cancer season where we are seeing a lot of dominance from the other planets in the sky. Now, this is a moon day. Did we start broadcasting? Yeah. Well, we started broadcasting before a moon hour. And it is now a Saturn hour. Let's see. What are our comments about this? It is a trash fire at this point. I love you and care about you so much already. Thank you for being here. That means so much to me. Yeah, I already feel like we're friends and we're making friends and it's great. Yeah, this is kind of the astrology right now. That's accurate. That is this comment that you see on screen, dumpster fire, dinosaurs, that is yeah. I'm probably going to share that I think a more advanced astrologer deserves to moon in Virgo again. That means moon will be void of course, I believe. And then moon will move closer to this ever nearing conjunction of black moon Lilith and the south node, which means that the equator point where the moon is technically the furthest from the Earth is also going to line up with where the moon is going from being in the north equator to the south equator of the Earth, or the northern part of its orbit or the southern part of its orbit. There is probably a lot more I could be saying about this current chart, but I am going to move on to our vibe check. Yeah. Let's see. All right. Let's get into First, we're going to go into the liminal space. This one's got that ocean jasper with it. And I can shuffle my cards. I have my house to myself tonight, so I am allowed to shuffle my cards as late and as loudly as I want to. Nice little shuffle there. Ooh, somebody popped out and they really want to be known, I guess, because it was one that was on the bottom of the deck and it like a picture of the Tower of Babylon, and it says the primary problem with language is its magic. And I'm not sure if they mean it is or it's possessive, but the primary problem with language is its magic. I don't know if they put this under M for magic, but it's under P for primary or T for the. Not T. The thing about this little booklet is it's under P for primary. The primary problem with language is its magic. Just as a shaman will insist there is a difference between smoking a cigarette and praying with tobacco, there is a distinction between speaking and the casting of language as a tool, and it is the most prolific of all our tools. A person can be forever moved by a song, a book, an insult, an argument. Nothing can ever truly be taken back, just as energy cannot be destroyed. Well, there are all kinds of images and conversations and dialogues, implied emotional exchanges going on in the little windows of this tower on this card. That's really interesting. When I smoke cigarettes, I do try to always remember to pray with the tobacco, but I was not taught this in my family or cultural traditions. I just feel like everywhere I smoke a cigarette is supposed to be a forest anyway, so I want to pour some out for the spirit of the fallen forest. And I also want to use it as a tool to pray and give thanks to many natural presences, gods, deities, ghosts, things that are here operating beyond what we can see with our naked eye. So it's a really interesting thing that they chose this example in this explanation of the card. There's a distinction between speaking and the casting of language as a tool, and it is the most prolific of all our tools. I feel like emotional manipulation and lots of ways that we use our language in loaded emotional ways is magic, but it's dark magic when you don't know you're doing it and you are just using it as a way to get what you think you want. When we magic quite in the dark part, it's not in the light, in the consciousness of our brain. It's more light to the world when we are aware that our words create the world, create the energy that we're in, create ourselves, create our intentions, and manifest things. That's why we can literally speak things into existence. But yeah, being moved by song, book, or insult or argument, that is so powerful. It's powerful when it's charged up with emotion. That's the beat, that's the next level, that's the earnest charge of just what we're doing with our vessel to make words happen. And it's also the context in which we say the words. Language is a living thing that has a lifespan, and we are currently inside of the lifespan of the language that we are speaking. We're currently contributing to its existence as well as benefiting from its previous contributions of communication. But it is also magic. Spell, like, words are magic. That's why they call it spelling. This one says, it's magic when you mean it to be, but even in their example of smoking a cigarette, I would argue that that is magic that you don't know you're doing if you're not taking it as a prayer. Just as words are magic spells that you don't know you're casting if you forget that language is magic. So very important. I just got back from a great, a family vacation that was like, it's my family. So they're all, a little eccentric in their own ways. And we can talk for a long time about our opinions and our beliefs and the evidence of things we've seen in the world. And I feel like the time I spent in that place and with those conversations did a big number on the world and on me. And I think unlocked some solar plexus energy for me. I felt many times in that conversation, I felt my solar plexus being charged and affirming it as well. Conversation where you listen to people, not just the words that you say, but the words that you give your attention to and listen to are magic as well. That is a really interesting message coming from the universe. I want to see what else the universe has to say in context of this. The primary problem with language is its magic. Magic. Yes, the primary problem with language is its magic is quite the card to draw for the incoming energy right now. Do you think language just fell out of a coconut tree? It exists in the context of all which came before and all which will come after. Okay. Yes, any language. Especially spoken language. There is a vibration, a waveform, a resonance, a musicality to spoken language that is quite literally how you cast spells. It doesn't have to be in Latin. That's just what our current incarnation, our current global consciousness, our current collective consciousness remembers as a time when we still knew how to cast spells. Our current Western consciousness remembers Latin as the last time we knew how to cast spells. I'm sure that people who speak Arabic are intimately aware with the power of that language to poetically cast spells. It is the language of poetry, both in written word and in speech. Arabic is quite powerful. Okay. The card that jumped up while I was talking about that which is the energy. I'm pulling cards for the weather. If you don't know what this show is, this is a weather show. This is a weather recap show. And at the end of it, to hold space for all the English is also magic. Yeah. English is a magic language that gets used for dark magic a whole lot, but can be a language of light. Well, it's not the language of light, because the language of light is a totally different thing. But English can be used for light magic as well. It just often isn't. Anyway, this is a weather show, and I pull cards for, and I believe that there is types of weather that we don't currently. The language of the light is not one that we think of as a language right now. I'm not the one to tell people about that. I don't even fully know what it is yet myself, but it's not a language in the way that I'm currently talking to you. Okay. Well, I mean, I am kind of trying to talk to you in the language of the light, but it's not the English words I'm speaking. Okay. The next card we pulled for the ether is the King of Cups, upright. This jumped out as well. The King of Cups, it's funny that I talked about emotional manipulation here. And I was talking earlier when we were talking about the sun being in Cancer, being an emotional manipulator. I foresaw that we might pull the King of Cups later, because I was like, that is just so Cancer energy. We are currently in a very Cancer emotional manipulator wielding of knowledge and current knowledge of yourself in order to control the world around you type of month. I think it's Quenya and Sindarin, their language of light. I don't know either of those, and I'm going to have to look that up, because I am very curious now. I'm just aware that there is, from my intuition, all I've known is that there is a language of light, and I'm not sure what they are yet. But I'm going to have, okay, Sindarin is the Elven tongue, and what is... Okay. The Elven tongue. It's from Lord of the Rings. Okay. That's neat. Tattoos in that language. Okay. So King of Cups, with the primary problem with language is its magic. Coming in hot with the symbolism that you really can, everything you do is loaded emotionally. Every word you say is loaded emotionally. And this is the way that you sculpt the world around you. That is the medium through which people are motivated to do things. Emotional control. It is not just intellectual control. The King of Fish is reminiscent of the world pre-flood world, King of Cups, King of the pre-flood world. As I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, we're going through the end of the age of fire, we're going through a fire apocalypse right now. The King of Cups, the world that he ruled, ended with the flood, the apocalypse of water. He holds a chalice and a scepter, and embodies lots of feminine energy from all the blue that he is enshrouded in, but has an outside veil of yellow. This is not a tarot reading. This is a vibe reading. So the energy coming in from the universe that we want to be aware of. This is the weather reading of the this is a reading of the let's go now to our third from a tarot reading. Beyond what we can perceive in scientific method, beyond what we can evaluate through experimentation and tangible physical observation. This is a method of inquiry which deals in the chaotic realm. Thank you. All right. My purpose in life is joy. My purpose in life is joy. The basis of your life is freedom. The purpose of your life is joy. You are free to choose new adventures for joy, and in your joyous growth, you will add to the experience of all that is. So, I think that what's coming out between all three of these cards is that language can be used as an emotional tool of manipulation. It can be used as a matrix of control. And looking at the news and politicians and things that try to control us can be disheartening. But this can also be the method through which we bring ourselves and each other joy. Ultimately, our purpose in having these tools of magical language and emotional awareness and wielding is that we can be ourselves and use these tools for the joy of the world. When we resonate joy in ourselves, being in the state that you want people to be in is a great way to get them there. Induced resonance and all of that. So what I do here brings me joy. What I do here is share things like both astrology and the weather. We can go back to looking at the weather. I think that is this a tarot reading? No, this is a reading of meteorology, and I use tarot cards to get the meteorology for beyond the planets. You just came in at the part where I'd already talked about all the earthly weather. This is the energetic weather. Okay, we've got a new mesoscale discussion in Little Rock, Arkansas, a tornado watch 515. We've got Tropical Storm Beryl circulation has progressed into Northeast Texas. Blah, blah, blah. Strong low-level shear is now focused across central Arkansas, where 0 to 3 kilometers shear is on the right-hand shear is on the order of 650 meters squared per second squared. Even so, low-level shear has gradually decreased ahead of this feature, and nocturnal cooling is notably affecting buoyancy in the lower troposphere. As a result, supercell structures are considerably fewer than earlier in this evening, though several embedded longer-lived circulations are noted within a larger cluster of convection currently lifting north across the central Arkansas. Tornado threat continues with this activity, and a local extension of Tornado Watch 515 may be needed by 5Z. So we have already seen many tornado warnings and tornadoes hit the ground in Arkansas tonight. And it looks like that is being expected to continue. That that was issued at 11:27 Central, so that was only like 7 minutes ago. This area as a area, and they just let the mesoscale discussion for precipitation, a flash flood warning mesoscale discussion expire. Looking like we've also got a continuation of the flash flooding possible mesoscale discussion over here near Chattanooga, Tennessee, all the way over to Dahlonega, Hiawassee, Clayton, Blue Ridge, all of these areas, Cherokee National Forest, all these areas in the tri-state, the Triple Point area of North Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia. This is also partially into Alabama. This is also the last area of the Appalachian Mountains, of the Blue Ridge Mountains. This is, oh, and they've just reissued that. Okay, maybe that mesoscale discussion got renewed. We've got some pretty serious storms coming your way if you are in the extreme southern Appalachians, anywhere in the Ozarks, anywhere along the Mississippi River Basin. Memphis, you are not out of the woods yet. You still just got a little bit more to go, because we do have this long stretch of the last dangler of rain bands from Beryl here. Now, the bulk of Beryl, the bean of Beryl, is up here in Arkansas, but the dangler, the real frontal looking system, like if this was just zoomed out in size a little bit, it would look like a mid-latitude cyclone, but it's not quite that. It's a post-tropical low, a tropical storm. So this would usually be the part that like swings through, like as the front, that would create lots of storms. And I think that as this tail end gets ashore, right now we're looking for concern. Now all of these areas are under flood warnings. Little Rock, Arkadelphia, Pine Bluff, Camden. I never get to say Camden, but I knew people who lived in Camden once, and there's a lot. There's a tornado watch on there. We've got lots of watches and warnings issued in the state of Arkansas right now, and this is forecast to move up this way, this away. This is the forecast track for this hurricane, formerly known as hurricane. And we've got a new special weather statement here in southwestern Tennessee. Wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour and half-inch hail. We're looking at some pretty nasty storms with this, even not outside of the proper rain bands. We're looking at some very nasty storms, some really high reflectivity values. Things are heating up in the southeast. Now, this could possibly bring our overall weather pattern to a more normal shape. What I mean by that is getting storms that come west to east, because even this is now moving from west to east. It's more in towards the northeast direction, which is a happier and more natural, more normal area direction for this type of storm to go. Okay. Did I miss anything? Oh, sorry to interrupt, but do you love reading the weather, or did you used to report the weather for a news channel before? I mean, I've never seen anyone so interested in reporting the weather for fun. Usually we watch it on the news. I'm not from the USA, so I'm just curious. That is a great question. I love doing this. I am very interested in the weather. I actually majored in meteorology and have a degree in meteorology, but I I dress and look and act very weird, so I never thought a TV station would want me, um, because they tend to want people to look as normal and, yeah, just as normal as possible. And I don't want to work for the U.S. government for moral reasons, and so I also don't want to work for large businesses for moral reasons. So I do my work. What I make my money with is in I do stand up comedy and lighting design, and I work in live events. So this is just purely for the love of the craft. I think that I also think that weather includes all weather reports should be included, and astrology. I do believe that astrology has an effect on the weather, just as the moon has an effect on the tides. It's a very controversial scientific opinion that not many people share. So I do this broadcast every night so that I can include all the factors that I think are part of the weather in one weather report. You don't look or act weird. In fact, you look lovely. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I do feel lovely, but I don't expect the mainstream media to understand what I'm doing here. So I don't try to play their game. Thanks for believing in me, though. Yeah, I do this every night at like 11 o'clock Eastern time. So if you like this, I'm always here. I'm usually here for like an hour or two. And there's a small little fam of followers I have here on Twitch and on YouTube, as well as Twitter. So come be part of the fam. We love talking about, I mean, I really do talk about weather the whole time. I mean, it's earthquakes and volcanoes and atmospheric weather and solar weather and planetary weather and vibe weather. I do a vibe weather reading through the cards. That's what you walked in on. But I do see that as all a way to sense what's going on in the vibrations of the world, because that is ultimately what weather is. Weather ultimately is the most condensed form of collective vibes that we have. Weather is the vibe that we're all going at the same time. Quite literally, weather is just oscillations. It's movements of waveforms of variables. But it's one of the clearest scientific mediums, that scientific disciplines, that shows that everything is waves all the way up and down. Yeah. Yeah, mainstream media, who even watches that these days? They're so biased. You're definitely going to be bigger than a typical news weather channel. The way you mix astrology with weather is so interesting. How do you correlate them? Okay, so I do correlate them by so on the physical level, I believe that the sun is the nexus of all gravitational influences of the planets in our solar system. I believe that solar weather has a connection to planetary motions. I also believe that solar weather has a connection to terrestrial weather by not just the coronal mass ejections that come to the Earth, but also inducing resonance with the storms on Earth. There's the physical mechanism is a little bit beyond our perception with scientific instruments right now, and we are just in the infancy of realizing the impact that ionosphere weather has on terrestrial atmospheric weather. Like lower down in the atmosphere. The ionosphere is our gradient between that Earth's atmosphere and space. But through NASA's GOLD satellite program, we are sensing changes, daily changes and fluctuations in the ionosphere towards the weather below, and the ways that the weather below can have effects on the ionosphere, which then translates to ways that the solar rays move around and through the Earth's magnetosphere. The magnetosphere is even bigger than the ionosphere. It's like comet shaped laminar flow, mostly laminar flow of solar radiation around the planet. Um, the way that the outer planets, I believe that the outer planets' energies or gravitational influences are transferred to the Earth is via solar weather. Um, Now, that is only on the physical level. On the metaphysical level, I believe that the planets have more resonance with certain planets have certain correlations with certain atmospheric variables, such as Venus corresponding to increasing thermal heat, Saturn corresponding to decreasing thermal heat, Uranus and Jupiter corresponding to increased electrical activity, Mercury corresponding to atmospheric instability. All of this is in astrometeorology, which is a ancient, not ancient, but like a long lost art, a pre-scientific revolution field of study that needs to get brought back into the scientific conversation, in my opinion. All right. Astrologers here where I am are often seen as scammers because they'll say things like Mars, which we call Magal, is aligned in a certain way, so you'll have a good future. Do you think its alignment actually impacts individuals in different ways? No. This is a thought about deterministic astrology, where I guess I'm assuming you're from, maybe. Well, I don't want to assume where you're from because I forget what Magal is. What language that is that in Ayurvedic uh, astrology? I don't remember. But it does have an impact on the initial conditions of your life. Okay, okay. Southeast Asia. I had a feeling. I don't know as much about Vedic astrology as a Vedic astrologer. I come through the lens of westernized Hellenistic astrology, but also modern internet astrology, which tries to kind of combine all of these different disciplines. I do think that where the planets were when you were born will have an impact on uh, the raw material you're given as an energetic being. But I don't believe that is deterministic to say, on this day, you will do this, or you will never get married, or you will get married. Like, this is something where it's kind of like whether you believe in fate or not. Like, it's not saying that, uh, it's kind of like that saying of, you can't miss what is meant for you. Like, if you are meant to eventually get a job at Lowe's home improvement store, even if you don't apply the first time it's an option for you, you get, like, as a retail employee, you may have a whole your way from for has to do a job for the Lowe's Home Improvement Company. So even if you tried really hard to avoid the fate of working for Lowe's, you eventually did do work professionally for them. So that's how I think of astrology determinism as it is a set of possible um, energetic influences in different areas of your life. So it's definitely there's a choice. There is choice. You always have choice and free will, but there are different ways that if an astrologer looked back on your life, they would be able to see the influences of planets on there. But it's not as I think there's also a little bit of a spiritual divination element to it that a lot of people who are modern practicing astrologers try to hide from people because it doesn't sound scientific or reliable to say, I had an instinctual urge that this is the interpretation for your life. But it is part of spiritual growth and spiritual process to learn how to use astrology as a divination tool. It is not something that could be computer calculated. Though I think many practicing professional astrologers, specifically in Vedic astrology, do like to be more deterministic because it is a more solid business practice to be reliable and consistent and be able to give people a straight yes or no answer. I think those kind of answers, the empowerment to have a great marriage if you want to. Something that is life changing in a bad way, but you will grow ultimately from it. That's not something that like sells very well. So you would probably just sell the answer of, yes, get married this day and not this day. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of the context in which this practice gets used. I missed something from Kaylee. I was in the shower, but still listening to your Kamala impression was fucking hilarious. And don't ever change being you. I love every minute and your readings and knowledge. Thank you. I'm glad you got my reference. AKA scam. Yes, it is something people can use to scam you. People can also use card readings to scam you. People can also use literally anything they do to scam you. So I don't stop believing in something just because scammers use it. I also don't believe in something just because no one's figured out how to scam you with it. I think that a lot of professional consulting is a scam, but everyone has to scam someone in order to get money in the world. So it's a toss-up. But also, if an astrologer has ever scammed you, I am sorry. If they've ever scammed somebody you're close to, I'm really sorry. That hurts a lot to see somebody that you care about search for answers and hope in the world, and somebody just takes advantage of it. That is a really, really shitty feeling. So yeah, while I do employ observing of planets in my meteorology, I never want to lift up people who are a quick buck off of your insecurities. Yeah. Doctors sometimes scam by putting in extra cents if you have blockages in your heart. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, there's when we are in a world, our current world that is so profit motivated, that means everything can be scam motivated. So it's really, yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. Medical, don't get me started on medical scams either, because that's just a whole It's very unfortunate and really sad. I don't like to think about it. But I mean, I do. It does have to end, but that is why we have each other, and that's why I believe in doing things just because. That's why I do this show, just because I like doing it, because I think that's how we get away from scam culture. I think we get away from scam culture by doing things we love because we love doing them, and watching things we love because we enjoy it. um, the way we get away from scamming and usuriousness is love. Love is the answer of how we get out of the capital trap. So do things because you love them. Be yourself because you love yourself. And if you don't love yourself yet, be a self that you would love, and find the parts of yourself that you love. That's how we get out of this trap of people scamming each other all the time. You're also harder to scam if you love yourself and are feeling fulfilled in your soul. Um, Scammers get you where you feel like you're lacking something. And if you are feeling in true resonance and alignment, we as easy to scam. And also just do things purely because you love it. The whole scam of capitalism is saying, oh, people would never do stuff if they didn't have to be paid for it, or if your life didn't depend on money, then you wouldn't do anything in your life at all. That's a scam. That's a lie. You can do things because you love them. Plain and simple. Humans can do things because they are simply nerdy little guys who love their little special interest. And we can get away from the scam culture by love. So I think that's the spell I want my words to cast with us tonight. My purpose in life is joy. I'm going to use my love and language to say, we will beat scammers by loving ourselves and the world fearlessly. And yeah, with that, I love you. I love you all so very much. I am so grateful that I get to do this for you every night, and I'm so grateful that you're here. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. I can't wait to talk to you again. So for today's weather tonight, I've been Cloud Hudson. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.